JJ.
Dean, you have an interesting name, by the way, because you must have, you know, always being people always asking you, are you related to?
Oh, Mr. Dick or Fred Van Dyke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I fielded that question, but if I had a dollar, I'd be wealthy beyond my dreams, but don't know if we're related. So,
But it's an easy name to remember, right? As in, for me, because I'm French,
mhm.
Jean-Jacques Joseph Brun. It's not an easy name to remember or for people to remember. And when I was working overseas, they could say they couldn't pronounce my name, but they could say John Jack. Hey, John Jack. And they were thought they were bilingual until one day I was working in the ops room, and a British colleague came in and he needed a stapler, and he said, "Hi, Jai Jai," and I'm like, Jean, I connect. Oh, okay. I connected the dots, and then I responded, and I got branded. So JJ became the working name, and it's just easier. So congratulations, you have a name that is easy to remember. Mine was hard to pronounce. As Jean, yeah, that's my name. Jacques, well, yeah, that's my godfather. And Joseph, yeah, because we had one church in our village, Roman Catholic,
Oh,
so you'll get the Joseph.
oh
And
yeah,
then last name is Brun, which is rough translation, John Brown. So and then JJ became the working name, and it worked well for me when I was overseas in Bosnia, because if I got into trouble, JJ got into trouble, and the Canadian government had no clue who JJ was. So it worked out
nice.
having a
That's
working.
great. Well, the funny story about my name is Chat GPT is all the rage
Oh,
right now. So when I throw my name into Chat GPT, I built a prompt for doing some producing on the podcast, and it wouldn't run. And my mentor, who had developed a similar prompt, he tried running, it wouldn't run, and it kept popping up with an error. It said copyright issues. It could be a violation of our copyright, and I'm like, what? And he was like, what? And then it hit me, Dick Van Dyke.
absolutely.
So I have to remove my last name if I'm going to run any prompts in there. I could leave my first name and then add it later. But yeah, it was a technical issue which neither one of us could figure out, and then it hit me. Oh yeah, Dick Van Dyke. That's why they're doing this. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, we've solved that. So, but you're retired from active duty. You're a spy. Very intriguing. Um, so, how did you get to that point that you were so inspired that you became a spy and worked in the field?
Well, my military career is 20 years. I did 5 years with the combat arms.
Okay.
So the French regiment in Quebec City is known as Le Royal 22e Régiment, the Royal 22nd Regiment. So it's a French regiment. So I did 5 years at that. And then I progressed quite rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Reached the rank of sergeant within less than 4 years. It's a blessing and it's a curse, right? Because you're the new breed, you're bigger, you're stronger, you're bilingual, you're computer literate, but the old guard doesn't like you.
Uh,
So then it's like, you know what? I'm not going to be fighting this throughout my whole career, and I decided to change MOC, or to change the career path. And the intelligence branch piqued my curiosity. I said, no, I don't know why. It just did. I kind of like it because, the intelligence, it's
mm-hmm.
cool, it's sexy, and it's exclusive, and they probably have some cool training. And so I got, I was curious, so I applied and got accepted, and chance to opportunity because I was bilingual. There was an empty spot, and I just transited easily into it in the intelligence branch. So I'm a Agent 431. All the double zeros are taken. So that's my
Oh,
number, 431. Woohoo. Yeah. And that's on our certificates. You get that number, and that's yours for life. And I just progressed. But what happened is that in the Canadian military, you're not a spy. You're an intelligence operator. You're an intelligence officer. It's a trade. It's people outside the agency, right? Or people outside the military. We tend to label what we don't understand.
Sure.
So the whole spy thing, though the branding of the retired spy, came about when I was retired. I'm an interpersonal skills expert.
Hmm.
Um, Communication. I'm a globally recognized authority in communication and relationship development. But that's not how people remember you. At a network event, they would say, "Oh, that's JJ. He used to be an operative. Oh, that's JJ. He's a former spy." So it kept on going over and over and over, and people like it. They kind of like saying that you're an ex-spy. And after a while, I got tired of it. And so, well, if it's going to be because it's memorable, okay, well, JJ, okay, well, the retired spy. I looked at, I'm the recovering spy. Although no, that means that you're probably on drugs or alcohol, blah,
Oh,
blah,
sure.
so no, you're the retired spy, and because you're retired, proves that you succeeded in the spy business. Like that was like a coach and a mentor, and they just take themselves a little bit, or I don't take myself too seriously. Um, so I just accepted the brand because people tend to label what they don't understand, and there's a stickiness to it.
Hmm.
But the lane that I'm in, the name of the company is DHC Training Solution. The DHC stands for Decoding Human Capital. And we provide training solutions. So our big thing is to equip people for works of service by introducing a model
Hmm.
out of the 100 models that exist. I specialize in one. I would say pick yours and master it. But quite often, people in business or in their personal life will be at a disadvantage if they do not use a model to better understand people or to better understand the human dynamics.
Hmm.
So, in the military, 5 with the combat arms, 15 within the intelligence branch, but the last 10 years was specializing in the field of human intelligence. And my claim to fame, my Mount Everest story, is that I was the first one selected or volunteered to be a contact handler since the Second World War. So sent over to the UK to be trained as a contact handler, then deployed into Bosnia was the area, the environment that we were in, where I had to cultivate sources within a hostile environment, determine people's intentions, and modify their behaviors if and when required. Basically, building relationships across cultures by design and not by chance. I had at the end about 100 eyeballs working on our behalf to get a
Hmm.
sense of what's happening on the terrain, so that we can inform the commanding officers, so they can make informed decisions as to where to put the resources with what was happening in downtown Mostar. So it's a fascinating type of work, over your head when you first get into this, because like, oh my gosh. But it's funny how everything that you've done in the past, how it plays in the future.
Hmm.
There's a saying in the speaking that your mess is your message. Your mess is your
Is your
message.
message? Yeah.
And I'm like, well, my mess. Well, what's my mess? I always had a hard time in understanding my um, what I'm supposed to do in life. And you're in high school, you got your parents, you got your friends, you've got your uncles and your aunts. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What do you want to be? And they always want you to be like that engineer or that doctor, but nothing interesting. I just did not know my strength. I didn't know anything about me. Sure would
Hmm.
have been nice in high school if we would, taken an audit, a devotion, not a devotional, um, was it devotional? But that basically would tell you what type of career would be good for you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Um, I'm translating in my mind from French to English. Vocational. It's not devotional.
Vocational.
Vocational direction. Sure would have been nice, because it would have showed that, what, military combat arms, pretty good place to go. So for me, I never wanted to be the retired spy. It's just that I was an intelligence operator, so blue collar worker, And then at the end, the last 5 years, I became a staff officer. So the white collar worker within the field of intelligence, and specifically in the field of human intelligence. So quite interesting. And when you look at your message, and in your mission in your life, if you so choose to accept it, just to share with others what you've learned. So DHC Training Solution is all about that, all about equipping people for works of service. So whether it's a corporate, a government, the municipal, provincial, and the federal in Canada, we have those three different distinctions. Whether it's the educational lane, whether it's the entrepreneurial lane, whether it's the speaker lane, there's just so many area, but they all have one thing in common: they're in the people business. So everything that I've learned when I was in uniform, I now do more work for the Canadian government outside than when I was wearing the uniform, because I train their trainers in mastering that tool. For me, it's the 4 temperament model of human behavior, also known as the DISC model. But for me, it's a force multiplier. It multiplies your capabilities in business or in your personal life, because you'll see that people don't do things to you. They do things for themselves. And when you can discern their preferred communication style, you can learn to say the same thing in 4 different ways. So sometimes you have to be firm, sometimes you have to be fun, sometimes you have to be friendly, and sometimes you have to be really factual when communicating with others.
Sure.
So, yeah. And in that first case that I had, I was given a gentleman in Bosnia. That was my first case, as in, here's the person. And he had been branded as the self-declared mayor of Mostar. He wasn't the actual mayor.
Just declared himself.
His persona, he was known as the Godfather. He was really running the whole place. He was the Godfather. And I'm supposed to build a relationship with that person? How in the heck are you going to do that? I'm not a people person. I'm very task oriented. I know how to do tasks. I'm very good. Now I have to go completely on the other side, and I got to be this friendly, chatty type of person. How in the heck you do that? So for me, what saved me is there was a speaker that shared the 10 most effective feel-good icebreaking questions. And when he was sharing this, is if you memorize this, you'll always be able to carry a conversation with anyone, anywhere, anytime. I was ready. Give me the questions. So I liked it so much that I created a document on it, on the 10 most effective feel-good icebreaking questions. And that you can actually use it. As in, if you go to the website, you can download a copy of it. Because the first question in there is, how did you ever get interested in the widget business? So that's just a generic. Okay. So I reframed it as in, I'm just curious. That's a good 3 word, by the way. I'm just curious keeps the subconscious minds open, because he comes closer. I'm just curious. How did you ever get interested in politics? Because I was told that if you ask that question in the right place at the right time, in the right format, that the person will talk for, 10 minutes nonstop. Well, that self-declared mayor of Mostar did not get that same lesson plan, because he talked for 45 minutes nonstop.
Wow.
And he kept on going and going and going. And I'm just listening, and I'm following the conversation, because it goes through an interpreter. It comes back, it goes through an interpreter, it comes back. And I'm just engaging, I'm listening. But he provides me so many other avenues to go into. And the more he was talking, the more I was discerning, okay, is he more fast paced, as in outgoing? Is he more slower paced, reserved? I'm discerning the pace perspective of the speaker. And in this case, he was a little bit more reserved than outgoing. All right. And then I'm like, okay, is he going to lean more on the people side, on the task? Oh, he was task. He was definitely task. Very stoic, very, came across as cold, but also as defiant. And in the 4 temperament model of human behavior, that's I'm sensing that's a CD or a DC style blend. How are you going to want to communicate with that person? So, in a factual and in a firm matter. So it just gives you all these clues and cues to learn to say the same thing in a different way. So the 10 questions, you'll never have enough time to ask all 10 questions in a 1 hour meeting.
That's not a bad thing.
But it gets you a good start. And then from there, provide you the I'm just curious.
Hmm.
3 words. Then they'll use the four. I have a 3-4-5 approach. I'm very systematic. Uh, I'm just curious. Well, you know how. Well, you know how. So that's for us to get a sort of like a connection or a form
Uh-huh.
of rapport. Would it be okay? Would it be okay if we break bread? Would it be okay if we actually have a meeting? Would it be okay if I send you some more information? Would it be okay if you introduce us to? So the 3-4-5 approach. And the better you are at asking questions, the better you are at reading people. I had to go into the theater to learn a system because my biggest thing is I did not want to be the first Canadian voted off the island. I'm having a survivor moment. Right? You're the first Canadian. This has never been done before. I'm not with a Canadian unit. I'm living on the, in Medjugorje, which is a religious site, a safe house that's not really safe. We're
Hmm.
living in the villa. Everybody knows we're there because we're in uniform and we have military vehicles parked right there. And it's like, look, this is a target. So, but back then it was accepted. Today we would never do operations the way. So it was more of a discrete operations. They knew who we were. But that was just the job back then and how we operated. Uh, and it's just you look back and it's like okay, but now you've got some good stories where you can share with others what you've learned and to help them better connect with people, better communicate, help grow their business
Hmm.
by understanding the human dynamics, the human factor in regards to this. So I like the fact that your podcast it attracted me as an ex-military battle to business. I'm like, yeah, 20 years in the military. Everybody that's been in the military, we had our struggles. We had some good days, we had our bad days. But then there's a life after the military. How do
Hmm.
you transit out? Well, your mess is your message. I always had a hard time of making friends.
Oh,
Right?
interesting.
We how many times do we hear right? If the military wanted us to have friends, they would have issued us a friend, right? That's said over and over. But I kind of like, why are you talking to me? Don't you have any friends? I was so out of it. But now I'm going to be evaluated by my ability to make friends
Hmm.
in a hostile environment. How the heck do you do that? So it like it was a struggle, but having a model or reference, the power of the question, made that everybody wants to talk all the time. And you just have to find their hot button. How do you establish and maintain rapport with them? So it's a
Hmm.
part of the questions, the levels of listening. But everything that I've learned in the military, I now apply on the corporate side and helping other people. Yeah, that not to struggle the way that I had to struggle when I was serving in the military. So
Well, you've got I mean, with the transformation, so you're training the trainers, but you're still transforming teams within the Canadian government, within corporate. Um, that work that you're doing is so important because I taken a disc profile a few years ago, and I just actually my mentor he goes, "Hey, let's take a look at that," and I'm like, "Oh, let's leave that where that is." And so, but yeah, so within there it talks about an adaptive style.
mm,
It
yeah.
help our listeners understand. So you have your disc, which is your is it called the primary profile? No, it's not called a. What's your main profile, and then you have your adaptive
Yeah. So one graph, so I would call it your basic style,
basic
and then
style.
you have your environment style. So there's two. The environmental style, as in this is how you perceive you need to be in order to be successful in that environment. As the environment changes, so do we. So if I'm in traffic, I'm adapting to that type of environment. If it's bumper to
Mm-hmm.
bumper, if it's very aggressive, if it's uh, everyone is going at a certain like you're going to adapt. Once the this session is over, I have to bring my daughter to her school, driver's school. Okay, well, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to transit from that state to that state. So
Hmm.
as the
Right.
environment changes, so do we. Not a problem. But our basic style has less of a tendency of changing. It's how we tend to operate on automatic pilot. So let me give you an example of, well, I'm wearing glasses.
Hmm.
So I have one lens and I have a second lens. Well, this lens, right, that's based on my nurture. I'm the sum of all of my experiences. That's my nurture, the way that I was brought up. We are the
Hmm.
sum of all of our experiences. Now, the next lens, this is based on my nature. That's how I'm wired, as in I'm the sum of all my ancestors.
Hmm.
So your nurture and your nature creates these filters that you see life through. No right or wrong, it is just different, but we do have two things in common. You're the sum of all your experiences and you're the sum of all your ancestors. So we want to respect other people's model of the world. It is just different.
Hmm.
There's about 50 different companies that will teach DISC. Not everyone teaches it the same way. Now,
Oh.
I went down to Atlanta, Georgia, to be certified and trained with Dr. Robert Rome back in September of 1999. So I've seen many different formats of the product, and for me, it's like wow. And in 2002, he said, "Why don't you just train and certify people on our behalf?" So I became their training director. So,
Okay.
and then we, of course, ex-military, I systemized everything. There's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So how do you become a master trainer? Because you do your training, whether it's a 2-day or 3-day certification, you're
Hmm.
certified as a human behavior consultant. Not a problem. Well, there's the advanced behavior studies. And then after that, there's a speaker's boot camp, as in how to connect to the DISRC audience. And then if you want to be an executive master trainer, you have to become a master trainer so that you can certify people on behalf of Personality Insight. So I designed out a whole um, process or
Hmm.
process, depending upon which part of the country.
I like
And
process.
yeah, and from there, I now train trainers. And so like tomorrow, I'll be running an event, and there's going to be 12 people, and it's 2 days. There's some the realtors, so the brokerage
Mm.
firms.
Brokerage. Yeah.
They want to. There's going to be a lot of them. There's going to be a member from the government. There's going to be a web developer because they want to do a behavioral based marketing approach.
Sure.
Oh, fantastic! There's one that writes policy, so he specializes in the policy writing, and it's like, oh, he wants to be able to write it so that it connects to all four personas.
Oh, sure.
So I'm like, well, that's cool. There's one that Mary Kay consultant, and she's building a big
Ah.
big team, and in the direct selling industry, how do when you have to present a product, a service, an opportunity, how do you present it according to how they are wired? So it's a force multiplier. It just multiplies your capabilities when you have that baseline, that model. So I like it. Not every company teaches it the same way. What I like about Personality Insights, it's the same owner, as in he hasn't sold the company. Some have sold like on more, like Strength Finder is no longer the same owner. It's been sold to, and it's
Oh,
somebody
okay.
else that has it. And when sometimes it waters down a little bit of the
Hmm.
product.
Sure.
But Personality Insights, Dr. Robert Rome, still the founder, still the president of the company, still going strong. So, and that's the company that I like. I've done work with TTI, love their product. See, never minimize one to elevate yours. They're all good companies. It depends what you were looking for in regards to the application. Are you just learning to grow? Not a problem. Are you looking to create a revenue stream? Because you can by being certified, you can.
Oh, sure.
Oh, you're looking to start your own training company? You just need level 1. Level 1 will provide you enough resources for you to do 8 different types of workshop for your clients. So like law enforcement, the booklet to use is a disc advantage for effective workplace partnership. Perfect. It's a full day of training. So you get trained and certified to facilitate that piece. Oh, you want to provide assessment tools like you've done yours.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Do you want a 6-page? Do you want a 30-page? You want a 50-page, or you want the leadership 65-page?
Wow.
Well, depends how hungry you are. So there's different companies out there with different products. There's
Mm-hmm.
41 style blends. Not every company believes that there is 41 style blend, but if they do the math and they do the research, yeah, it's more than 16. It's just different blends combination. So it's a great tool. So, and it's easy to understand, easy to apply. If you want to follow up afterwards and for us to go through your report, I'd be happy to go through it. If somebody has any questions, they can go to the retiredspy.com and just click on book a session with JJ. Complimentary 30-minute. You'll see my calendar so that we can have some quality time and see if it's a fit. Because not everybody needs to be accredited or certified.
Right.
I like it because I was able to use it in my family, as in raising my daughter and raising my son, according to how they're wired, and not according to the drill sergeant type.
Yeah, that didn't work out for me.
Yeah. So because my daughter, she was like completely on the I quadrant, inspiring, influencing, inducing. My son was completely opposite, cautious, calculating, conscientious.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't raise them the same way.
Right.
Like you wouldn't do that. Like when it was March break, my daughter went to Cancun. When it was March break for my son, he went back to university, the library for the week. My daughter thought, "Are you crazy?" Right? It's like
Yeah.
it's a reading week. No, that's March break, as in it's a week to decompress. No, it's a reading week. You're supposed to. So they're completely at the opposite. So, and there's a saying that opposite attract, and then they attack way up close. So that's like, because I'm from that D persona, my wife's from the S persona. So we're opposite, but we're attracted by the opposite. Right. And then we start
Yeah.
attacking when we start saying, why can't you be normal like me? So, and
Yeah.
it's just,
What's normal nowadays, though?
uh,
That's,
yeah, but now we do retreats for couples, just
oh,
workshop
wow.
for couples. Yeah. It's just, every year, first week of February in Cancun, all inclusive, because I
Oh,
have
I
a
thought you were going to
membership.
say Ottawa.
No, no, no. Yeah, no, no, no. You don't want to come to Ottawa in February. It's the coldest month, unless
Oh,
you
I
like
do.
this.
I
Unless
know
you like
that
this.
well.
Yeah, no,
I
you don't want to do that. No,
I know that well.
yeah, Cancun the first week. So it's a Saturday to Saturday, because we have a membership at the Moon Palace. So we can invite people underneath our membership. So it saves them a few $1,000s. And then it's all inclusive. So they don't have to worry about the meals, and they get $1,500 of credits for massage, manicure, pedicure.
Wow.
Yeah, my first experience, because I was a speaker one time, and uh, it it's funny because I'm not a massage, like as a trained interrogator, no touchy, and I was invited to go and speak there. 2 airline tickets, presidential suite, all expense paid at the Moon Palace. I'm like, that's an 8 to 7, 8. No, that's about an $8,000 plus the flights. That's about 10K. And all that company wanted, they just wanted 3 hours of me speaking, and I'm not allowed to use PowerPoint.
Oh,
They just wanted me to be there and to be able to say how I applied the model of human behavior in my business and my personal life. I had a 3-hour window on a Wednesday. And it goes, can you make it? Well, let me pray on that. God said yes.
yes. Imagine that.
So, and then I had that $1,500 of credits. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, because when you go to the Moon Palace, all you have to do is you just have to pay the tax. So if it's $100 to have a manicure, then it's like, well, you have to pay 15% of whatever the tax is
Oh,
for that.
sure. Yeah.
So not a problem. So my wife wanted to do the manicure and the pedicure and then the massage, and I'm like, I don't want to do the massage because I never had one, and it hurt, Dean. It freaking hurt.
It does.
because I had knots. I didn't know I had knots, but it
Yeah.
hurt. And then I did that manicure and the pedicure, but they have these massage chairs, and
Yes,
they
they
provide
do.
you with these champagne and orange juice. What do you call that? Champagne and orange
Oh, the
juice.
mimosa.
Yeah, as much as you want. And I'm like, I kind of like this. And then we did the pedicures for the feet, right?
It is.
Yeah. When we did the toes, and I'm like, okay. You know, 20 years in the military, I don't have they're pretty damaged.
Yep.
And she's just going at it. But the chair, oh my gosh, I would watch a football match on that chair. It was like, where did you get that chair? Because of the massage and
Yep.
like that whole experience. And it's like, then we still had more credits. And then she wanted to do a
Ah.
couple massage. And I'm like, what's that? And it's 80 minutes. The first one was
Ooh.
25. This is 80 minutes. And again, like she could read me. She goes, "You'll see, it'll go fast." So we're there. I got my face in the donut, and then I'm smelling grass, lemongrass. Yeah, they breathe and and she's just going at it. And I'm like, my gosh, is she going to have enough time to do the other side? Because it just feels like she's only working on one
Oh
side.
yeah.
And then I'm awake, but I'm not snoring. I'm purring. I'm like, and she just like, "Are you sleeping?" No, I'm awake, but I'm sleeping, but
Mm.
I'm awake. I'm conscious.
Pure bliss.
And then I'm like, is this what it feels to be in Zen? Am I in
Ah.
Zen? Is this like peace and harmony? But what happens, I was completely relaxed. I wasn't thinking about anything. I felt safe. I was just in the moment. And it really felt good. I'm like, wow, I can't believe I waited 53 years back then. 53 years. So I lost my virginity 3 times in Cancun. So that's what I tell people. Uh,
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
I do the mani pedi every 3 weeks with Maria. I can't. The massage chairs are just that's an experience all in and of itself.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do too. Well, this has been great, JJ. So tell my audience where they can get a free gift. I think you've already alluded to that, but let us know where we can find you.
Simple
And
as go to the retired spy, the retiredspy.com. Completely on the, because you're not going to get anything that's going to pop up. I don't think so. But if you go on the main landing page, can go completely down, you'll see the 10 questions. 10 questions that you can actually download. You just basically go down and you'll see the 10 most effective icebreaking questions. Hey, if they wanted to book a call, you'll see there's a little icon, book a call with JJ. It's as simple as you'll see my calendar and you'll see when I'm available. If I can be of service, then it would be my pleasure to serve. And there's funny stories in there. If you get a chance to go to the website and go to the speaking, you'll see one of the latest presentation that I did called "How to Successfully Navigate Hostile Environments Using the F Word." So make sure that if you're going to watch that, watch it with your spouse, with your wife, because
I don't know that I feel obligated to do that though.
oh, but that see that because you know about the obligated story, but I give guys hope. So have some fun. Have a look at that. It'll get you a good laugh. It's just 20 minutes, like a TED talk, but it's kind of funny. And if I can be of service, it'd be my pleasure. So that's the easiest thing to do. Just go to the retiredspy.com, and then from there, complete on the bottom, you can get that PDF of the icebreaking questions.
Awesome. Well, it's been great having you as a guest. I greatly appreciate you coming on. And I'll give you the last word.
Last word. Wow. Keep calm and disc on. It's a little, as in, sometimes you just got to be direct, inspiring, supportive, or cautious. It's just keep calm and just disc on. People don't do things to you; they do things for themselves. So if you know that, you'll be able to celebrate people's differences versus tolerate people's differences.
Very true. Very true. Well, have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks, Dean. You too.
Thanks for listening. In order to help others, Please subscribe and share this show up with other veteran business owners in your network. If you want specific guidance, feel free to book a complimentary call with Dean at deanvandyke.com. Remember, you wouldn't go into battle alone, and now you don't have to in business.